A nation without education will not know its worth. What I'm about to say is going to determine whether you know your worth. You don't know? And this is not book education, but it's your present.
Where did you get this entrepreneurial nudge from?
The word for me that sticks out when you asked the question was instinct. You know, that I think for me the closest thing that I can maybe attach myself to is the instinct, which is kind of it's nature at its best. You know what I mean? It's that instinct that, for example, when a woman falls pregnant and has a baby, like instinctively she becomes a mother. You know what I mean?
Yes,
there are things that happen, you
even
know,
before,
even
right?
before. You know what I mean?
She gets broody and stuff.
So for me, there are things that become kind of physical. There are things that become psychological. You know what I mean? But ultimately, they're all kind of transformed to call it, you know, socio-economic and to a certain extent political. You know what I mean? Whether you're born black, you know what I mean? You're born in the hood and things like that as well. So. In terms of the crime that you accuse me of, I'm guilty as charged. You know, I represent black business. You know, I represent if you're to put a description to it, a black mentality. You know, but the reason, you know, it's there and it has to be described as that is because it has never existed before.
I grew up in the taxis. My father was a taxi owner, so you know, I did a deal with him. That was my first deal. I had music from money, so I had money to make a deal with.
Sure.
You know, even in my family, you needed money to make a deal.
My mom had a saloon, you know, and every time when schools are closed, I just had to go help out the saloon yaki. And I said that they had a spaza shop, so every time after school I had to go sell a spaza shop. At some point, at the age of 12, they gave me the responsibility to run the spaza shop, you know. Little did I know I was being taught entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Your deal is as good as what you actually ask for. Because my father literally was like, cool, give me the money, let's do the deal. And I said, no, this is how I want the deal to work. And he was like, okay, cool. I literally structured my deal with my father and there were terms to it, although it wasn't written. And he agreed to them. And I've just learned that, you know, if they rip you off, if they do anything to you in life, did you bring up your terms?
It's true that.
You know, I just counting stock, doing stock taking, being responsible for the stock. Because at 12, I was given the responsibility to, this is the spaza shop, Sako.
Yeah.
If anything is lost here, we take it from your carry money. I joined a company called WWI. They taught me the 5 steps to a sale: the introduction, the presentation, the short story, the close, the rehash. Introduction, firm handshake, eye-to-eye contact, smile.
Yeah.
Go to a client, compliment them about whatever it is that they're wearing, or however they're looking, they'll smile and open up to you. That breaks the ice. You get into step number 2, presentation. Give them the product.
You still know
explain to them about the product. Step number 3, the short story. That's when you explain. Step number 4, when they're excited about the product, you close them. Step number 5 is the rehash. If they can buy one, it means they can buy 2. And when people ask me, like you do so well in a lot of the things that you do, like how do you learn all these things? But it's the basic principles of what I did when I was younger that I'm using till today, on a different scale though, obviously.
And what were some of the challenges that you guys faced when you were producing these clothing? I mean, you started off with hats, so
yeah.
I mean, what were the challenges you guys faced with that?
You know, the reason we have to dream, and this comes from Ekasi, you know, there's not much that you get excited about. So there's a lot of escapism, you know, and hence things like entertainment. A lot of black people are big into entertainment, sports, whatever. So it's always trying to escape, you know, and mentally, whether it's reading, whether, you know what I mean. So for me, the whole purpose of even creating a brand like Loxion Kulca, it was about, let's stop escaping. It's actually here. Let's start to celebrate who we are before we can start kind of worshipping things that are kind of foreign to us.
I think just generally any business that is born of black environments, of black culture, is always gonna find some type of hindrance because business as we know it is westernized. So westernized business is built off westernized culture and westernized understanding of trading and westernized understanding of values. So immediately when you bring black cultural values and black cultural understanding, but there's no finance behind it, when you try to sell it in a Western world, it's there's a resistance to kind of embrace it and accept it and help it grow. You cannot undermine the black way you're thinking of to get taxis.
Sure.
But you see, what's the difference? You know, the taxi industry is probably making more than the airplane industry.
I got you.
But what is the challenge? The West has created structures that allow them to kind of keep running them as businesses and invest to do this and do the next and end up becoming a monopoly that takes over the world.
Do you think that black people, in your experiences, in the people that you've come across, do you think that they truly believe in a fully black-owned business that starts from the ground up?
It's been happening. Because there's been general dealers. There's been ubaba kasbanban una makarachi, ubaba kasbanban una mashop. The sad thing is ubaba kasbanban nagashona, and usbanban when they take over that business, it doesn't last 3 years. Because then as black people, we did not train, or we do not train our younger guys, or we don't build legacy businesses to try and pass it on. There are some black families that have done it, but I think it's something that we can teach, and it's something that people can learn. And the Capitalist Nigger book speaks about that, where black people need to create, promote, sell, and buy their own, such that they get to a point where they build their own banks, they build their own schools, they build their own hospitals, and they build their own universities, and they keep the money revolving around themselves. Because if we don't do it, they'll do it for us. Actually, they've been doing it on our behalf. And I think it's high time that black people build legacy businesses that we are going to pass on, businesses that our children's children will pass on, and those businesses will grow. There's a difference between wealthy and rich people. Most of the wealthy people that I've interviewed, that I've observed, or some of them that are my mentors, is they are more family orientated.
Yes, that is very true.
Black people don't believe in black people. The same way I'm not going to wear a blanket from Lesotho for no reason, unless I'm in Lesotho. But Louis Vuitton done took the Lesotho blanket, commercialized it, marketed it. Someone who could have just gone to Lesotho and just wore that blanket for maybe 50 Rand is paying like 15,000 Rand. Do you know why? Because we never took ownership of going, how do we get in? How does a Zulu guy go buy a Sotho blanket just out of the fact that, damn, that Basotho blanket looks nice? You know what I mean? So do you understand that already commercially, as in the factions of Zulu, Xhosa, Sotho, we're not even buying our stuff. You know what I mean? So already that already shows that if I just bought a Xhosa bead and I bought like a Sotho blanket, and we were literally just, black people were just buying all those things from each other, do you know that that's an economy that's going to close down a lot of businesses? There was a division that, like, we were in dream state, that while we're in dream state, they took the whole state.
Do you think that black people are at a space and at a time where they are learning or know how to support one another?
I think we are. And it takes people like myself to communicate that language on an ongoing basis. We're still not there yet. I mean, even in America, when Jay-Z launched TIDAL, he got a huge backlash from his own people. He even did that freestyle. When Steve Jobs does it, it's okay. When YouTube takes money from you, it's okay. When Spotify takes money from you, it's okay. But when a black person launches a brand, they're still doubting TIDAL even today. Now they're even saying they're swaying numbers, streaming numbers, etc. And it's the same thing with us. I mean, you saw when MoFaya launched, a lot of black people were either against it, or they were doubting it, or they were not sure. For whatever issue. Others it might be jealousy, others it's because of they're not sure, and because of slave mentality. Others you cannot blame them, it's not them. It's systematic that white people from many years ago have programmed how black people will be like and how we think based on how we grew up and what we are used to and what we've been fed over the years. And I think it's high time that we need to reverse that. And to reverse it is not an easy thing to do. And that's why I have to keep communicating it. The only drink that's owned by 100% black people, what it means for it to be 100%. Why is it important for you to buy black? Why is it important for you to create a black business? Why is it important for you to support a black business? Why is it important for us to create black banks, to create black schools, to create black hospitals, etc.? But it starts small. It starts with people like me sharing this knowledge. These are case studies of some of the things I've done, the failures, the mistakes, the successes, the achievements. They're used as case studies to a reader who gets to open the book and learn, and they can identify with my story. It's not a textbook at a business school, but it's probably even better than a textbook in a business school because
it's a real story.
Thank you. It's not a BP company or McDonald's in the UK where it's like it's a case study of a company that you cannot associate with or relate to. But it's a local story, and it's a story of somebody who's done things in front of you, and you can relate to those stories and learn. So more and more Sibus write books, more and more Sibus create their own products, different products, more and more Sibus educate the consumer about the importance of buying blacks, but also more and more Sibus create products and brands that are going to be world class, and they're not going to sell because we must support black, we must buy it even if it's rubbish. If it's rubbish, it's rubbish. You know, they say create your own brand or product for other people to consume, or else you will continue, not maybe, you will continue to consume other people's brands to make yourself feel better. That's why when you're wearing that Kazel, it makes you feel like you're the man.
Yeah, you know.
I'm wearing this Tom Ford, I feel like I'm wearing my standards.
Sure.
I'm wearing a Burberry jacket. It's like, but these are brands that are created by other people to make us feel better. So why don't we do the same and create things that make people feel better? Put the hashtag MoFaya on social media and look at how many pictures come up. Boys in the townships taking themselves selfies with MoFaya. They're feeling good with their brand. Create your own brand for other people to consume, or else you will continue to consume other people's brands to make yourself feel better. And I think that's where black people are right now, and that's why I love, you know, statements like what a time to be alive. Things are changing, times are changing, technology is on our side. Let's innovate, let's communicate our blackness, let's be unashamedly proud of being black, let's create black products, let's create black companies, and let's embrace each other, let's help each other, let's be social entrepreneurial, thinking that the continent of Africa has got over 1 billion people, and we are not going to survive if we create businesses that only benefit ourselves. We have to create businesses that benefit others. Tony Gaskins says, when money is your motive, you'll always be lacking. But when purpose is rooted in serving others, money chases you. You can't get away from it. And I'm a perfect example of that.
Of course, there is. There is. I mean, but it's also very dependent on Africans or black people getting behind the business and supporting it. But it's also dependent on the management of the business, creating structures that allow you to kind of grow employees, allow you to kind of like make employees want to be in a work environment, you know what I mean? A lot of the guys that are doing well, who want to sign guys, they don't really sign them. It's out of like relationship, friendships, but no, they don't do real formal agreements. And that's where everything breaks, you see? So that's the thing, we have a whole, it's the formality and formalizing things that's killing us. But everything else is there, you know?
People always say this, like in our worst times in the country, we were the most unified.
Yes.
The Spazos got supported, the Taylors got supported, the bakery, everything, you know, it was happening in the hood, and there was a proper business structure and community. After '94, globalization came, that sort of weakened, and also the support of black people amongst each other sort of weakened, because they had all these things now that marked them as a status symbol
100%.
if you had, you know? And you talked about belief, and from coming out of that era, Loxion Kulca, and now, do you still, is there a difference in the way that black people believe in a black business coming out of nowhere and building itself from the ground up? Because back in the day, it was the only way to move. Now, because there's so many more options, I feel like Abantu, that belief of a black business springing up from nothing, from the ground up, and sustaining itself is not there anymore. How do you feel about it, having existed in both twilight zones, the pre-'94 and post-'94, and now the millennials?
And now, you know, purpose and knowledge of self, you know? A very key pillar in terms of hip-hop, you know what I mean? But I think for me, knowledge of self allows you to know where you are in the bigger picture, right? So for me, ultimately, it's about being able to work on our ultimate uniqueness. And once you've got that uniqueness, it then transcends to some sort of USP. You know what I mean? Our USP, for example, in popular culture used to be KWAITO, you know? Now it's more than that because of evolution. So I think ultimately, it's not about necessarily the revolutions, it's about the different evolutions, but it's still us doing exactly the same thing, using different tools. Is there more belief? Yes, there is, you know?
Rap music is an analogy of what's happening to black people in the country, you know? And it's that division where today, with me as a platform, you know, I mean, obviously I'm doing it for the culture, but then, you know, you get guys who look at it as an ego thing. like, yo, so Slick is like this, and like, you know, so he's getting props for that. But you know, when I did 3 years or 4 years ago, nobody cared about it, and Slick wasn't getting that, you know. So almost like now, I'm not like basking in the glory, like, hey, you know, I'm like, yo, who are the new kids? I'm still finding out who the new kids. I'm saying who's the Rico, who's J Molly. I don't know these guys. The same I said who was Casper when I never knew who he was, you know. And that's the essence of taking ownership of something that you love, which is the culture. But people fail to understand that I'm not here for Slicker to get glory. You see a whole team.
Sure.
I'm here for the culture to get glory. But Slicker understands and loves the culture more than a lot of people. So if people gonna give me props, give me credit, if I'm gonna get work, if we're gonna get money or whatever the case be, it's literally off the fact that there's love to it. And the interesting thing is that all the money that SlikourOnLife has made literally has gone back to the artist. All I've become now, I've been promoted from saying, this is what's hot in the culture, where people can see on a blog, to brands going, who should we mess with in the culture? And I'm going, you gotta put your money to this guy and that guy and that guy and that guy. So now I'm actually helping brands to spread money to the culture and people who are valuable in the culture.
Nice.
So who do black people want to do that? Because it's always been white companies that have been doing that. But black people are gonna go, oh, Slick, you know what I mean?
I feel you. I just want to find out from you, your views and how you maneuver people's opinions about you.
I think when you care a lot about what people say, I think that's when you'll stumble across you'll stumble across mediocrity and you'll just be like the rest of them. You gotta stand out, you gotta be different. I'm different, bro. Like, I'm different. Jack Ma says, in your teens, you're finding yourself. In your 20s, you're working for other people while learning as an employee. In your 30s, you're working for yourself. In your 40s, you're enjoying life. Do you know what I mean?
I hear you.
And I refuse to be working for other people. I refuse to be mediocre. I refuse to just die and it's just normal. People bury me and they move on. They need to have schools named after me. They need to have streets named after me. I need to have changed lives. I need to be spoken about. Long after I'm dead, if you're going to conform because you worry about what people are going to say, then you're not going to become the person you're meant to be on earth. I'm meant to be great. I'm going to be great, and I know that. And when I say to people, billionaires under construction, I'm not doubting it. I'm saying maybe one day I will be. I already am. I'm a billionaire. Like, I don't even have any amount or any ounce of doubt in me that I'm going to be a billionaire. I already know that because God has made me to be a billionaire. God has made me to show my generation the direction, to show them the light. And it's up to me to live the life that God has prophesied for me and that He has given me. Because I'm aware how many people look at those pictures, how many people are looking at me, and why don't I take my fame and I transfer it into building a KWAITO brand called Brown? Why don't I take my fame and I transfer it into building a brand called Mzegeze? Why don't I do the same and build a brand called Ntando, a brand called Zahara, a brand called TS Records, a brand called Massiv Metro, a brand called Slef, a brand called MoFaya, a brand called, you know what I mean, whatever. And for me, I believe that's how young people need to start thinking. If you start worrying about what other people are going to say, you're not going to become the person you're supposed to become. I already know that I need to be out there and I need to go to the ground and be with my people. People need to see Steve Jobs on the ground. Like, people that are born now, when they turn 20 or they turn 25 and they're working for Apple, they get told about Steve Jobs. They're gonna go to YouTube and go watch videos of Steve Jobs. It's the same with me. When people start working for MoFaya in 2055, they need to go to YouTube and see videos of Sbu, the founder of this company, selling this brand in the streets. And for me, that's what I'm doing. I'm educating people about entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship, you're gonna get doors closed, shut in your face. You're gonna go through rejection. You're gonna go through breakups, relationships. You're gonna be called names. You're gonna go through a lot of hate. You're gonna go through a lot. Entrepreneurship is not an easy journey, but in the end, it's worth it and it's a lot of fun. And people like myself are showing the other side of entrepreneurship instead of showing Rolls Royces and nice cars, the results of it. So most people show the results of it. There's not enough people showing the hard work that goes through achieving those results.
But I hope we